Hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and like this channel, friends. And guess what? You have another great story coming to you in a few minutes. Don't forget to like and share this, okay? Comment, talk to me, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
I'm back with another story. 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 I'm back with another story.
Hey, friends. Welcome back to another story time. Yes! I'm so happy you're here. Yes, I am. And we're going to have another great story so we can learn and grow together. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you for coming back to see about me, okay? Because guess what? I have a great story and it's going to give us a whole lot of life. And as it's giving us life, I know for sure this new friend and new family member who's watching this story time, you came at the right place at the right time. Thank you for joining Story Time. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Subscribe and like this channel, friends, okay? So that every time I have another episode of a story time, you will be able to know with that notification bell whenever I come through with a great story. So go ahead and do that, all right? Don't waste no time. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with our song, okay? Let's get into our song because that song is going to help us get our brains going. Now, you heard it when the episode was coming on, but we always have to sing it before we read, okay? So let's do it. 1, 2, 3. I'm back with another story. 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 Yes! Oh my gosh, friends, you don't understand. This story tonight is going to be funny, but it's going to be great, okay? Now let's do our drum roll so we can get it going. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Did you see the title, friends? If not, it is called Ruby the Copycat. Copycat. Ruby the Copycat. Do you like to copy your friends? Do you like to do what they do? And, you know, if they want to wear green, you're going to wear green. If they want to color with red, you're going to color with red. Now, sometimes being a copycat is not necessarily bad. Sometimes we look up to friends and we like the things that they do. And we want to also join them because we're their friend. But, you know, sometimes we can be a copycat and it might not be so great for another friend. They might not like it all the time. But let's just see why Ruby is the copycat. Yeah, let's just see. But we're going to shine a light on our author really quick, okay? So this is written by Peggy Rathmann. Thank you so much for this great story. I just cannot wait to get into it so that our friends can have some fun, Miss Peggy. And so let's just get to it, friends. Now, what do we have to do? We got to scoot in so that we can read this story, or you can see me read this story to you, okay? So let's do it. All right, I'm going to scoot in so that you can see the story, all right? Miss Shay's hair is kind of sticking out, and presentation is everything. So let's just do it. All right, here we go. It says, Monday was Ruby's first day in Miss Hart's class. Class, this is Ruby, announced Miss Hart. Ruby, you may use the empty desk behind Angela. Angela is the girl with the pretty red bow in her hair. Angela smiled at Ruby. Ruby smiled at Angela's bow and tiptoed to her seat. I hope everyone had a pleasant weekend, said Miss Hart. Does anyone have something to share? I was the flower girl at my sister's wedding, said Angela. That's exciting, said Miss Hart. Ruby raised her hand halfway. I was the flower girl at my sister's wedding, too. What a coincidence, said Miss Hart. Angela turned and smiled at Ruby. Ruby smiled at the top of Angela's head. Class, please take our Take out your reading books, said Miss Hart. At lunchtime, Ruby hopped all the way home on one foot. When Ruby came back to school, she was wearing a red bow in her head. She slid into her seat behind Angela. I like your bow, whispered Angela. I like yours too, whispered Ruby. Class, please take out your math books, said Miss Hart. On Tuesday morning, Angela wore a sweater with daisies on it. At lunchtime, Ruby hopped home sideways. When Ruby came back to school after lunch, she was wearing a sweater with daisies on it. I like your sweater, whispered Angela. I like yours too, whispered Ruby. On Wednesday, Angela wore a hand-painted t-shirt with matching sneakers. After lunch, Ruby hopped back to school wearing a hand-painted t-shirt with matching sneakers. Why are you sitting like that? Whispered Angela. Wet paint, said Ruby. On Thursday morning during sharing time, Angela modeled the flower girl dress she wore at her sister's wedding. Ruby modeled her flower girl dress too. Right after lunch, Angela didn't whisper anything. Think Angela's getting kind of like a little aggravated? Maybe. By coincidence, on Friday morning, both girls wore red and lavender striped dresses. At lunchtime, Angela raced home. When Angela came back to school, she was wearing black. Oh no. On Friday afternoon, Miss Hart asked everyone to write a short poem. Who would like to read first? Asked Miss Hart. Angela raised her hand. She stood by her desk and read. I had a cat I could not see because it stayed in the back of me. It was a very loyal pet. It's sad we never really met. That was very good, said Miss Hart. Now who's next? Miss Hart looked around the room. Ruby? Let's see, friends. And they going home quite often. How they get to go home? I didn't get to go home when I was in school like that. Ruby stood and recited slowly. I had a nice pet who I never met because it always stayed behind me, and I'm sure it was a cat too. Ruby smiled at the back of Angela's head. Someone whispered. Ruby sat down. What a coincidence, murmured Miss Hart. Everything Ruby does, Angela does what Ruby wants to do, friends. Angela scribbled something on a piece of paper. She passed it to Ruby. The note. You copied me. I'm telling Miss Hart. P.S. I hate your hair that way. That was not kind. Ruby buried her chin in the collar of her blouse. A big tear rolled down her nose and plopped into the note. When the bell rang, Miss Hart sent everyone home except Ruby. Miss Hart closed the door of the schoolroom and sat on the edge of Ruby's desk. Ruby dear, she said gently, you don't need to copy everything Angela does. You can be anything you want to be, but be Ruby first. I like Ruby. Miss Hart smiled at Ruby. Ruby smiled at Miss Hart's beautiful polished fingernails. Have a nice weekend, said Miss Hart. Have a nice weekend, said Ruby. What do you think Ruby's gonna do? Let's see. On Monday morning, Miss Hart said, I hope everyone had a pleasant weekend. I did. I went to the opera. Miss Hart looked around the room. Does anyone else have something to share? Ruby waved her hand. Glued to every finger was a pink plastic fingernail. I went to the opera too, said Ruby. She did not, whispered Angela. Miss Hart folded her hands and looked very serious. Ruby dear, said Miss Hart gently, did you do anything else this weekend? Lord, this little girl. Ruby peeled off her fingernail. I hopped, said Ruby. The class giggled. Ruby's ears turned red. But I did. I hopped around the picnic table 10 times. Ruby looked around the room. Watch. Ruby sprang from her desk. She hopped forward. She hopped backward. She jumped. She hopped sideways with both eyes shut. The class cheered and clapped their hands at the beat of Ruby's feet. Ruby was the best hopper they had ever seen. Miss Hart turned on the tape player and said, follow the leader. Do the Ruby hop. So Ruby led the class around the room while everyone copied her. At noon, Ruby and Angela hopped home for lunch. Look at that. Wow. That was so good, friends. So we know that Ruby liked everything that Angela had. She wanted to do what Angela did. She wanted to be like Angela. She just wanted to be just like her. But how many of you know that you can be who you are? You don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to copy everything another friend does. You don't have to wear your hair like them. We can be inspired. We can, be inspired, encouraged, motivated, but we have to authentically be ourselves, okay? And parents, this will be a great story for you to check out and add to the collection. I know some of you may have 2 children, 2 plus 1, maybe 5, however many you have. If you have any siblings, or if you just have one and they go to school and it's like, I want my hair like such and such, or I want to wear this like my friend. Now, they do have best friends who like to, dress alike, but we want to teach them to embrace who they are. And I love Miss Hart in this story. She was such a great teacher, and she showed us, friends, how we should be, right? Yes. So anytime you see someone that wants to do what you do, listen, sometimes it's good, but sometimes it can get bad. Angela wasn't mad at first. Over time, it started to get overwhelming for her, and she kind of got aggravated, So let's just remember, friends, be who we are, love who we are, because there's no one like us, okay? There's one you and there's one me, and we all can be inspired to do things together or dress a certain way like one another, but we want it to be healthy, okay? A healthy way to, I guess, do what we see another friend does, okay? With love, all right? Now, if you thought this was a great story, trust me when I tell you, parents, don't be shy. Go ahead and buy it. You do that. Just remember that I always come with a great story. And if you ever get so close to wanting to be somebody else or thinking that you should be someone else, be reminded of this video that God is with you every step of the way. He didn't create you to be her or that girl or that girl or that girl or that boy or that boy. He didn't create you to be. He wanted you to be who you are, and who you are is unique, okay? Don't you forget it. So while you're sitting here watching this part of the video, remember what I always say, listening ears, and we're going to make good choices, because I'm rooting for you and you got this, okay? Now, I will see you in the next episode. I'll see you soon, friends. Bye.